What's up, guys? I'm finally back. Me and my daughter, Shalisha, typically does like reviews on Dance Moms Together. Sort of fizzled out, and the last few episodes, you never knew what was going to happen. Lost sort of interest. Things got away with her. She went off to college, although she's still at home. And she'll drop in from time to time to do videos with me. But I did want to drop in and just sort of start up again with Dance Moms. I know the season's over with, and there's so much that happened. I really wasn't sure if I was going to watch Dance Moms or not this season because the old team was, leaving. I was really invested in those girls, and then they had a new team coming in. Wasn't sure how that was going to be, but I did watch it, and I have mixed reviews for it. So let's get into it and talk about it a little bit. So the season started with Abby trying to gather this team together that she had picked, and she had posted on Instagram all the people that she picked for the team. And there was only one really returning cast member that was on the previous season, and that was Liliana. And I really didn't like the fact that Eliana wasn't on it. I mean, she did eventually come mid-season, but, to start out, I was, really looking forward to Liliana. Had a good little competition going on, except for their moms always got too far out of control, farther than what, you would expect. But, I guess that's what they had to do to keep themselves relevant on the show. I will say this season that I didn't like the fact that no one really knew each other, that it was all kids from different studios. I thought the dynamic that Abby had before with all the kids being from her studio, knowing her, knowing how she is, and her knowing their strengths and their weaknesses, what to give them, what not to give them. I think in building that relationship is a big thing, and I thought the fact that that wasn't there really did make things a little awkward for me, because there was no underlining friendship with the moms or even with the kids. It's sort of like, let's just make this work. And I guess, it works well in the adult world, but it really did show with them trying to get the group together and mesh together. There just really wasn't that relationship with the children, that they were comfortable with each other to be able to get that together. So I thought that showed a lot. I thought the moms definitely wasn't genuine. And it was every mom for itself. Not saying that the previous moms wasn't like that, but the moms did definitely make sure that they did not have that in front of the children. I didn't think that was the case this season. I think the moms just went at it, and whether the kids were there or not, they argued and did their thing, and I just didn't like that aspect of it. So the season just seemed so forced to me. There wasn't any genuine relationships there with the moms or with the kids. Even though the kids tried not to be at each other's throat, it's hard to see a mom tear a kid to see their mom being torn apart by another mom, and there's no relationship for the moms to go behind and apologize and talk and work it out, because they really are there for their children. They've seen what Abby was able to do with the previous kids, and how they have went on and made lives for themselves, and that's what they want for their child. But there's just no relationship there, and I think that was the disconnect for me in this whole process, because even towards the end of Dance Mom, when she started bringing these kids from different studios and making this elite team versus their home team, it just didn't work for me. I really liked the relationship that the children had. So, and I didn't like the fact that one of the kids on the team wasn't at least black. And I know Paris came towards the end, but that seemed forced. I know Cameron was in one episode and to do a little mini thing, but it was very evident they wasn't having her back. And I think Paris got picked by default. I don't know if it's something that the producers was like, we have to have a black kid in there. I think Paris is a nice little dancer. She kept messing up before they went out, and I don't know if that was staged or not, because to me, it's like, you do have those kids that really do well under pressure, but as they're building up to it, they're not doing well. And it seemed like Paris just on every part she was behind, to the point where I was really confused why she was even picked, other than the fact that maybe because she was black, that's why she was picked. I'm not really sure. I definitely did want to see diversity in the team, and there wasn't a lot of diversity. They had one boy, which Abby's always wanted a boy, and then they didn't have any other ethnic backgrounds. Pairs, like I said, came towards the end. And I know that I had gotten to a conversation, well, really not a conversation. I think it's like one or two comments where someone had posted on Abby's post where Paris had came in towards the end of the season. Is that a black child? And someone piped back and was like, said something to the fact of that, Abby picked who she wants to pick, and, so forth and so on. And I didn't really like the comment. I don't know if it was made out of ignorance. I'm hoping that it was made out of ignorance and not made out of racism, because I realize that there is a certain dynamic that goes into making the show, and they've got to make sure they have this there and that there. I get that 100%. It has to be entertaining for television, but one of the comment had alluded to, well, why don't you go watch Bring It or something like that. Now, Bring It definitely is a show that I do watch, and I do enjoy watching Bring It, but it should never be an arena where you have to produce something different in order to be included. Everyone should be included in everything, whether you're black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. And I didn't see that diversity in the team. And whenever you watch something, you want to be able to watch something and be able to see yourself in it. And that wasn't present in Death Moms this season. So it really was disheartening to see that, especially since whenever Nia was in it, she was constantly set aside and put down. And like I said, I know there's certain dynamics, and somebody has to be the scapegoat for one reason or the other, but I just didn't really understand why, again, we would come back around, and given the time that we're in right now, that we're still in the same situation. So that sort of just, that didn't set right for me at all. But the team definitely did come around. They did win finals. I started out, like I said, watching the season. I got all the way up through where Ileana came in, and I really wasn't excited about that because Ileana is such a great dancer, and she wasn't doing that great. So it made me think that it was set up for her not to do great, because she had already planned to only come in for a couple episodes and then exit left. So, or right, whichever way that is, so that she can go back and do what she had to do. And I would have just preferred for her not to come in at all. That's just my personal opinion. I think she's such a great dancer. I don't think that it's smart to downplay yourself for a television show, because it's your reputation that's out there. And I think the one person that really shined through with that was JoJo. Whenever Abby was trying to get her to do something that she knew she wasn't good at, and it was going to make her look bad, her and her mom opted to just leave, because she was going to be on stage and she was going to be performing here, there, and everywhere, and you don't want to be associated with how, where you don't want your mistakes highlighted, pretty much. So I thought that she's such a professional dancer, and she's such a really good dancer, that it just didn't seem right. I mean, if it's just for a show and you expect to come on the show and not do anything else, I get it. But, I thought so many things were just set up. And I'm not saying things weren't set up before, but it was more genuine before, I think, than it is now. And it just, again, Abby taking people out, putting people in, like Savannah left pretty early. And then Sarah, I don't know what this big thing with Sarah was, with Studio 19 and Michelle, and the moms having so much to say about, what Michelle should do and what she shouldn't do, and Abby backing them up. Can I just say, let me stop. Can I just say that I was so surprised at Abby this season. She really just did not stand up like she usually does. And maybe it's because she did not, I don't know, maybe it's because of what she went through, and she learned a lot, and she just didn't have the strength to do it, this season. But she really did allow the parents to get away with a lot more than I thought she should have, especially the kids. She allowed them to taught back, which was typically not something that they did. She allowed the moms to have more say in what happened to another mom, which is something she typically didn't do. And she allowed the kids to cry more than she typically does. Well, let's just say Liliana. She allowed Liliana to cry. And I understand that probably whenever she was sick, that they were one of the ones that were there, and that means a lot whenever you don't have any that type of support, and then you do have that support. You really want to, you know, help those people that, you know, were actually there for you. But I just felt like she just wasn't herself, and I really would love to see her be herself. Definitely give each child more of a chance than she did with the previous team, but be more of herself and bring the best out of the children. They have several dancers. Giannia is a good dancer. Her mom's Joanne. Cocky, but oh well. You have to feel like you're, you know, good yourself, and that way, you know, you can live up to your own expectations. So I don't think you should be too cocky. Brady is such a great dancer. Trish, I think that she was great in terms of, you know, sticking up for Brady and being there for Brady, but I think that, you know, she might have started the pot a couple times where she shouldn't have, but out of all of them, I don't think she was the one that started the pot the most. Savannah, like I said, Savannah was only there for a few episodes before she was, you know, excused. Presley was Ashley's child. Presley was one of the ones that got a coat. Her and Liliana got a coat before the end of the season, and I think she's a great little dancer. I think there's an underlying relationship there. That's why she got a coat, because I don't see that she's any more of a better dancer than the other kids that were there. Sarah, I've talked about Sarah a little bit. Sarah was a great little dancer. She came from Studio 19. Can I just say that whenever the owner of Studio 19 came up to Michelle and grabbed her hands to tell her something, that she was a good woman, because she could not have grabbed my hands. Let's just say that. That's not going to happen. So the fact that she was able to get away with that, Michelle, I need for you to be just a little bit stronger, because ain't nobody gonna get up in my face, put your fingers in my face and grab my hands. That's not what we're gonna do, period. So then there's Hannah. Hannah is the oldest one that didn't talk a lot, and Ann was her mom. I think Ann didn't really know what team she wanted to be on. She jumped from one place to the next. That was really annoying to me. It's like, pick a team, stay there. Paris came in towards the end. She's a little black girl, cute little girl, great little dancer. Wasn't sure if it just seemed so forced to me that she kept messing up all the way around, but when it came time for her to get on stage, she was great. Now, she still was late, not as late as she was in practice, but there were still a couple times that I seen that she was late, but she wasn't the only one. And Berkeley was the other one that was in the running with Paris. Berkeley wasn't picked, and they didn't really show her not being picked. They just showed Paris coming back, and Berkeley was gone. So those pretty much were the ones, except for, like I said, Liliana and Stacy. And Stacy is supposed to be like a therapist, a psychologist. I know she's not a psychiatrist. I can't remember if she's a psychologist or a therapist, what her particular degree is, but I know she works with mental health. And I really thought that she needed a mental health counselor. I mean, Stacy was on another level, and it was really not cute to me. But I got through the first few episodes. I stopped. I did finish it up. Will I watch it next season? I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. Just depends on who's coming back, who's there, if there is a next season. Let me know what you thought this season. Like, subscribe. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like, if you're going to watch it next season. And I'll be back in a few days. I got a lot of shows I like. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Chrisley Knows Best. There's so many shows out there I love.